Hey, my diverse speakers. How are you? Happy New Year. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And we definitely have to give you a cheer. Oh my gosh. I hope that you are well. It's so great to see you. Thank you for being in this space. So, I am here to tell you why you're losing 6K. And that is because you're not showing up consistently. You are not showing up fully, loudly, and proudly, and with authority on LinkedIn. And I am here to serve you and to help you. So I'm currently doing one of my paid speaker visibility sprints, which I do from time to time. And in those sprints, we have 7 days together where you post 7 days in a row about what you talk about, the outcomes you achieve, the problems that are in your industry. You myth bust, you start conversations, you share different perspectives, you go hard and you go loud on your methodology or your framework, and you put yourself out there consistently so that you can feed the machine. And what I know to be true is that a lot of the time, diverse speakers aren't feeding the machine consistently. So they are pretty solid on having their LinkedIn profile set up for their business, for their profession, for their charity, or for whatever it was their main or primary focus for being on LinkedIn. But the paid speaker visibility gap emerges when we are then looking to get paid to speak or transition it from free to fee, and we haven't been quite as attentive as we could be in terms of really letting everyone know why we should be booked and paid. Fundamentally, that starts with the foundations. So foundation number one is your LinkedIn profile can serve as a speaker landing page before you even pay to get a separate website. That's something you might want to do in the future, but in the beginning, you can actually use your LinkedIn profile as that landing page. However, you need to actually be strategic in focusing on making sure that you're making it clear and simple so that within the first, 30 seconds, a booker, a conference organizer, an employee or budget holder can see that one, you're a speaker in your niche. Two, they're going to be able to see something that's in the banner that shows that you're a speaker or has a credibility anchor, like a book, or you're clear about your niche. And then you're going to want to make a strong and powerful invitation within your about section. So these are the kinds of things that can help you to anchor in being really easy to identify as a paid speaker. Because what we don't want people to do is to be confused or unsure or think that you are high risk. Because if they think you're high risk, you're not going to get booked. So that's the first thing. You want to be having a solid foundation and making sure that our profile is doing some of the heavy lifting for us. So that's having a clear niche, that is making a clear offer in our about section, and that's looking at the other parts of our profile to make sure that we are showing and demonstrating evidence, whether that is photos, clips, or recent talks that you've given. Now, I know that sometimes we can be worried that we don't have enough material to be sharing on LinkedIn, so it's hard for us to feed the machine. Don't worry. What we need to be doing is working smart and not hard. So it's about leveraging what you have. So if you have spoken, let's say 3 times at least, and even if it's only once, you can still use that one example, but just in different ways. So what you do is use the speaker graphic, you use any photos or clips, and just talk about it from different angles. And remember that most people are not watching your every move on LinkedIn. So they're going to forget. So you need to post it consistently and regularly. So you keep feeding the machine, and that allows you to be found, right? So what does it mean to be found on LinkedIn? It means that you are relevant, that you are consistent, and that you are attracting the right attention because you're positioned in such a way that it's clear to know the business problem that you solve. Part of the problem that I find about speakers who are transitioning from free to fee or leveling up in their speaker fees is it's not easy or clear to find out the problem that you solve, or you're not being relevant or using the right words and terminology that's current in your sector. Because you've got to remember that we need to be bookable and relevant, we need to be current. We need to make sure that we are aligned with what's going on in our sector, and that we can be found by commonly used search terms, that we are making sure that we are engaging in the conversations that are happening right now, and that we make sure that we are also going to the rooms and spaces on LinkedIn where that's happening. So what I mean by this is we'd be following relevant organizations, we'd be commenting on, senior employees, learning development, HR, those kind of folks, and making sure that they're visible, that we are visible to them, and that we're also connecting with them and building our relationships with them. So not only are we posting, we're also actually following up, because it's not enough for us to just post. Because if we are not don't have a strong brand yet, because we're building our paid speaker brand, people aren't necessarily always going to reach out to us. We've got to reach out to them. So if you are at any point in this the year or at any time doing your own paid speaker visibility sprint, you'll want to make sure that even if you get no likes or engagement, that you actually send your paid speaker post to relevant people, whether that's conference organizers, bookers, senior employees, to have a conversation with them and ask them, what do they think about your post? How have they found what you're talking about? Is this relevant and current to them? What are their thoughts? So engage them in conversation so that you can find out what's happening in terms of, when there might be opportunities, how to apply for them, and things of that nature. But it is really hard sometimes to see a picture when you're in the frame. So what I mean by this is that we are so close to what we're doing. We can't always tell if we are not sharing the right things, or making it super clear and easy for us to be found and for us to be booked. And sometimes we need like an extra outside pair of eyes to help us and to give us that opinion and guidance to be like, what, yeah, if it was dialed in like a notch this way or that way, and help us to have that iterative paid speaker mindset. And what is that? So that is where we're being proactive. That is where we are gathering market intelligence. So, we are making sure that we are speaking the right language. We are making sure that we're in the right conversations. We're making sure that we're following up. And we're making sure that we are showing up consistently, because one of the things that I find is that because it can be quite hard sometimes when we are posting and we're not seeing the fruits of our labor, to feel discouraged. And I think one of the things to share with you about being a paid speaker, being visible on LinkedIn, is you'll need to develop resilience and emotional capacity in order for you to be able to test and try new things, for you to get feedback, and for you to really be dynamic in the market. Because as a paid speaker, it's not just knowing your stuff. Like, knowing our stuff is fantastic and it's great. Don't get me wrong, you do need to know your stuff. But what I was talking about recently in a workshop that I ran is that if we're selling to corporates, we need to make sure that even if we have like a core subject area that we're co-creating, that we're always making sure that we are making our speaking opportunity or products, fine-tuned to exactly what it is they're wanting, and we are aligned to their outcomes. And when we do that, that is when we get more traction. That's when we get more conversations. That is when we are able to have a strong and powerful conversation about actually, being booked, about, doing 1-2 workshops, having a keynote turn it into a consultancy or a program, or, we are then able to align ourselves with really what's happening with them, their problems and their issues. And it's clear to them that we understand what's going on with them. So if this has been super helpful, please do let me know how you're closing your paid speaker visibility gap. Are you focusing on your foundations? So that's optimizing your profile. Are you focusing on feeding the machine? That's getting your content out there. Are you focusing on building relationships? Because as I've always said, that one of the most underrated things about being a paid speaker is that you have to build relationships. You have to be in it for the long game, because actually people buy from people. So not only do we have to share expert content, we also have to share a bit about our own story, our own journey, and why it's important for us to be in that field that we're in. what we're contributing to it, what's unique about it, whether it's our framework, whether it's our book, whether it's our particular perspective or lens that allows us to give value and transformation. Because don't forget, we are here in the market to provide value and transformation. But we have to articulate that in such a way that everyone knows and is clear how we can solve their problem in their language. So if this is something that you're working on, I would love to help and support you further. Please do, if you need help and support around this, DM me audit on LinkedIn for more info. But if you are needing to be visible, more visible and consistent, please do make sure that you apply a testing curious mindset. So the last thing I want to share with you is that being a superstar on LinkedIn isn't just about, writing amazing hooks or getting content that goes viral. Actually, it's none of that. It's emotional management, making sure that we can show up consistently as we need to be, but also it is being able to actually reach out and get in touch with those that we're seeking to build relationships with, ask some questions, be in conversation, because actually it's conversation that helps us to be booked, to actually hear what is actually on their minds, and therefore we can fine tune, tweak, and iterate. So I am excited to be with you in this 7-part series to demonstrate to you how showing up visibly on LinkedIn can really push you forward into your paid speaker era. So until tomorrow, take care, and remember, you are a big deal, and you are definitely going to have more movement when you put yourself out there consistently, and that you adopt that testing curious mindset, and you know that actually it's a question of being consistent, gathering that market intelligence, and going again, because actually it's a long road. And the final thing to say is that just because you're not seeing any progress doesn't mean that it's not happening, because actually it takes many, many, many times and many, many, many interactions for you to be someone's ideal person. And sometimes we're not the ideal person, and that's okay. But actually, it takes a long time to build a relationship and for us to be to find the right people and organizations to work with, where they value and see value our transformation. But we too have to be out there consistently and confidently and anchoring in our value. So this is your paid speaker era. Take care and be well.